Hello and welcome to another edition of That Boy Was Busy, seen exclusively here on Markout Moments. I'm Pondwater Dave. Thank you for joining me for this fun episode where we're going to talk about the October of 1982 of the greatest of all times, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. That boy was extremely busy in 1982. He had 26 matches in 31 days, traveling 16,700 miles and faced 12 future Hall of Famers. Out of the 26 matches, he defended the NWA title 25 times. And in the other match, he was challenging for the World Wrestling Council Championship. So 26 title matches, and out of 26 matches that he wrestled in, 5 days off in the month of October. But a lot of that was when you're traveling 16,700 miles, how much time did he really have off? So without further ado, let's jump right into it and see how busy Ric Flair was. On the first day of October, he was in the Pacific Northwest at the Lane County Fairgrounds in Eugene, Oregon, where he defeats Terry Gibbs. On the second, he's still in the Pacific Northwest, this time at the Sports Arena in Portland, Oregon. Best 2 out of 3 falls. He defeats Brett Sawyer 2 falls to 1 in 22 minutes and 3 seconds. Then he gets on a plane, goes all the way back across the country, 2,700 miles to Columbus, Georgia. He's in the municipal auditorium for Georgia Championship Wrestling, and he defeats Paul Orndorff by countout at 38 minutes and 19 seconds. Now we're in Atlanta, Georgia at the Omni. Ric Flair defeats Stan Hansen. No, he doesn't defeat Stan Hansen. It's a double countout. Ric Flair versus Stan Hansen is a double countout in the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. On the 6th, we're at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa, where Ric Flair and Manny Fernandez go to a draw. On the 7th, we are at the Memorial Hall in Kansas City, Kansas. Ric Flair defeats Manny Fernandez. On the 8th, we're at the Coliseum in Macon, Georgia. Ric Flair is defending the title against Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, and they go to a double countout. Also on the 8th, we're doing a double shot. He's at the Checker Dome, St. Louis, Missouri, where he goes to a 1-hour draw. Actually, Harley Race defeats Ric Flair, but because he only won 1 fall out of the 2 out of 3, Flair retains the championship. So they go 60 minutes. So Flair works 2 matches. He goes from Macon, Georgia to St. Louis, Missouri, and then goes an hour with Harley Race. Man. On the 10th, he's in San Antonio, Texas for World Class Championship Wrestling, where he goes to a draw with Kerry Von Erich, the modern-day Warrior. On the 11th, he's at the Will Rogers Coliseum in Fort Worth, Texas, and Ric Flair defeats David Von Erich by disqualification in 27 minutes and 58 seconds. On the 12th, he's at the for Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, the Township Auditorium in Columbia, South Carolina. Ric Flair defeats Wahoo McDaniels. On the 13th, we're still at Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, this time the Memorial Auditorium in Greenville, South Carolina. Ric Flair defeats Wahoo McDaniel by disqualification. On the 14th, at the Scope Coliseum in Norfolk, Virginia, Ric Flair defeats Jack Briscoe. Again, all of these are for the NWA World Title. He's not doing any matches that he's not defending. Excuse me. On the 15th, we're still with Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. This time we're in the Richmond Coliseum, Richmond, Virginia. Ric Flair defeats Wahoo McDaniel by disqualification. And before we go any further, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind y'all that this episode of That Boy Was Busy is fueled by Dubby, the energy drink that hits harder than a chair shot, but without the crash after the 3 count. Whether you're calling matches, calling bets, or just trying to stay awake after binge watching wrestling all night, Dubby's got your back. It's packed with vitamins, amino acids, nootropics, no sugar, no jitters, no nonsense, Just smooth, clean energy that'll keep you focused from bell to bell. And because W's made right here in the USA in an FDA inspected GMP certified facility, you know it's the real deal, not some mystery powder from parts unknown. So grab a tub of W at wg.gg, use promo code WRASSLIN, RASSLIN, that's wrestling, and save 10% while you fuel up on your next match, show, or grind. That's w.gg, promo code WRASSLIN. Stay sharp, stay hyped, and stay W'd up, brother. Woo! Now let's get right back to it. Rick travels down to the Hiram Bithorn Stadium in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where he's challenging for the WWC Universal Heavyweight Championship. Carlos Colon defeats Ric Flair in 33 minutes and 7 seconds. This is for the Capital Sports Promotions. On the 17th, he's back in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Charlotte Coliseum, where Ric Flair goes against Roddy Piper, and they go to a double disqualification. Now Flair's going to head up north of the border to Maple Leaf Wrestling at the Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and he will defeat Dory Funk Jr. in 21 minutes, 8 seconds. On the 18th, where he's going all the way back down to West Palm Beach, Florida for the CWF, Ric Flair defeats Ron Bass by disqualification. On the 19th, he's at the Fort Homer Hesterly Armory in Tampa, Florida, again for the CWF, and he does not defeat Barry Windham. It's Ric Flair and Barry Windham going to a 60-minute time limit draw. 60 minutes with Barry Windham. On the 20th, at the Sunrise Musical Theater in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Ric Flair defends against Dusty Rhodes, and he beats Dusty by disqualification. They move it on over to the Ocean Center in Daytona, Florida, where Ric Flair defeats Dusty Rhodes. On the 23rd, we're in the Roberts Arena in Sarasota, Florida. This time, Ric Flair defeats Butch Reed, who we all know is over in Florida. On the 24th, at the Ohio Center in Columbus, Ohio, Ric Flair and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff go to a time limit draw. On the 25th, for SECW, at the Boutwell Auditorium in Birmingham, Alabama, Ric Flair beats Ron Fuller with Bullet Bob Armstrong as a special referee. On the 26th, the NWA World title with a 90-minute time limit, special referee Bullet Bob Armstrong. Ron Fuller beats Ric Flair by disqualification at the Expo Hall in Mobile, Alabama. Moving it back over to Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, this time at the County Hall, Charleston, North Carolina. Words are hard. At the Charleston County Hall in Charleston, South Carolina, Ric Flair versus Wahoo McDaniel goes to a no contest, and that is how Rick closes out his busy month of October. Man, I mean, all those miles, all those Hall of Famers, time limit draws, 60 minutes, and they didn't just sit there in rest holds. They worked. That boy was definitely busy. Until next time, I want to thank y'all for joining us for That Boy Was Busy here on Mark Out Moments. Tell a friend, subscribe, click that notification so you'll know when we go live, and we will see you next time on That Boy Was Busy, exclusively here on Mark Out Moments.